Napoli fans around the world, welcome to Napoli Talk. What can I say? At least the guys on loan are playing well because the guys wearing blue, forget about it, man. Forget about it. These guys all need to be shipped off, starting from Di Lorenzo, the captain, who showed absolutely no desire today. There was a moment in the 85th minute where he loses the ball, his arms drop to the ground, has absolutely no desire to go get the ball back from out of play, put it back on the field in position. You got the experienced guys like Mairo Rui that when Politano was injured at the front of the field, asking for a substitution, Mairo Rui gets the ball and puts it back in play, even though we're down to 10 men, and Politano needs to be subbed off quickly for potentially Raspadori. Some of the more senior guys are completely brain dead at the moment, completely disconnected. I'm not even going to mention Frank Zambo Anguissa, who has one decent game in 10. I'm not even going to mention Rachmani, who honestly, I'm sick and tired of this guy, man. Like, everybody keeps complaining all the time about Juan Jesus. I even see it in the predictor game that I have. I see your predictions before each game, and you guys consistently put Juan Jesus flop of the match. Even today, when he's, supposedly injured, so he's not supposed to be playing, you guys still put him as a potential flop of the match. The few times I've seen Rahmani's name on there is quite shocking. It makes me think that am I the only one that sees that Rahmani is the worst player on this field? One of the worst, I think, in the entire league. This guy only has a career because he was next to Koulibaly and then Kim that made him look somewhat decent. But other than that, I mean, absolutely ridiculous player. And I do not understand how he and Anguissa and all these guys, whenever I see news reporters talking about the next season Napoli squad, they keep putting them back into that squad. These are the first players that need to be shipped out. They gave their maximum last season. They don't feel like fighting for Napoli anymore because for them, this ninth or 10th place or whatever position we're in right now, it's too good. It's too bad. They're too good for this position. They don't want to fight. And you know what? If that's the case, then you got to go because guess what? This Napoli team next year is going to be in this position again if things don't change around massively. If we don't get rid of these guys, we will have another season where we are in 8th, ninth, or 10th. That is a fact. So bring on new players. Bring on the guys that are out on loan. Let's get Khedira back into this team. Let's get Folonuscio, Gaetano, Zerbin, all these young guys. We're going to be playing either the Europa League or Conference League. That's the ideal scenario for them to grow, to get European football experience. If we had been playing Champions League football next season, they would not have a chance to play and grow with us. But at least these guys will have motivation. They might not be the best players. I personally don't like Khedira. Since I saw him for the first time in the World Cup with Morocco, I thought this guy was useless. For some reason, he scores 2 goals against us today. Well, I know the reason why. It's because we have Rahmani on the field. But I would rather him be playing than some of the guys that are on the field today wearing blue but have absolutely no desire to fight for this club. All right? Absolutely no desire. I made a video yesterday about Conte and the new sporting director. I'm not sure how many of you guys had the chance to look at that. Do look at that if you haven't done so already. The one thing I didn't touch on was, does a guy like Conte want to come to Napoli? I mean, is he not watching this game? This is a tough team to rebuild. because there is just so little to go off of. What are you gonna do? Sell everybody except Kvara and hope that you get things right. I mean, there's literally 20 players to get rid of, and yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame. I'm gonna go straight to the player ratings, guys, because that's how bad Napoli are. I mean, I don't remember much worse player ratings than this, to be honest. And I don't want anyone trying to justify any of these players in red. I don't want people to start saying, "Oh, but Osimhen scored a goal." Yeah, my grandma could have scored that goal. What about all the seven other chances that he missed? All right. Or I don't want people to say, "Oh, Kvara, but he's no one passes the ball to him." Man, it's Frosinone. Like if you can't be decisive against Frosinone, like come on, you know? Merit, I was about to put him more than five. I was about to, even with the mistake that he made, even with that mistake which compromised the entire game, I was about to put a six or a seven on Merit because he pulled off some really great saves. Actually, he saved the penalty in the second half. A brilliant save on the line with his feet. Maybe it would have been cancelled anyways because I think it was a handball by a Frosinone player. But that just shows you how messed up the situation is when a goalkeeper can make such a huge mistake. And I'm still thinking, yeah, but he saved us a lot of times. Like, he's been consistently like our top three players, even with this mistake that he's done. And I'm not happy about that. I'm not saying that because I like to defend Meret. You guys know I'm not a fan of Meret. I'm saying that to emphasize just how bad the situation is, where even a player making a mistake like that, I'm like, but he was one of our best players today. Like that is how bad it was. That is how bad the situation is, man. Um, Cayuste is not good enough for Napoli. Yeah, ship him off. Even him. He's one of the youngsters, but ship him off. He's nowhere near good enough. Gaetano and Foloruncio are miles, miles, miles ahead of him. And I don't understand, guys. Going to Calzona now, and I gave him a three. I gave him a three. You know why? Also because of what he said before the game. Before the game, he said, "Well, until there's the mathematical certainty that we are not out of the Champions League race, then I'm still gonna believe in the Champions League." Like, no, bro, like no way we are getting Champions League football the way that we play. There's absolutely no chance with you on the bench we're getting Champions League football. And the whole point is not like, "Oh, well, we're going to believe in it because the math says we can still believe in it." No, like, dude, you got to say, "I've not been good enough. I've not been good enough." Our objective is to try to get some sort of European football. Probably our objective should just straight out be the Conference League at this point, and that's it. And you stop trying to sell whatever you're trying to sell because we're not stupid. We're not stupid. If there was anyone here that still believed in Champions League football, man, you are delusional. Like you are properly delusional. And hey, I mean, I'm all for positive thinking and everything, but it was very clear since the last 3 weeks, ever since that 3-0 loss to Atalanta, that's it. Once we lose 3-0 to Atalanta, that's it. You know? Just because we had a nice game against Monza doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean anything. And it wasn't even a nice game, man. It was just the players remembering that they've got some level of skill. But yeah, I mean, I don't blame Calzona, I blame the players. Look, Calzona is not the root cause, all right? There are other issues out there, but Calzona does have some blame as not for the season in general, but I mean at least for this game. I mean, you go and in a game where we literally need to take water breaks because it's hot as balls outside, you make only three subs from the 77th minute onwards. Like, bro, you got to change these players around. These guys are walking on the field. When it's 2-2 and you're seeing that our only solution is to ping the ball forward to Osimhen because our midfield is washed, you got to change something around. You got to put you got to do something different. That Simeone sub came way too late. Absolutely way too late, in my opinion. I think that Calzona does have a lot of the blame. Politano, he got injured in the 77th minute, right? That's when Calzona made his first subs. He got injured in the 77th minute, Politano. Guys, we know that Politano does not last more than 1 hour. We know it. Mazzarri knows it. Rudy Garcia knows it. Spalletti knows it. Gattuso knew it. No one has ever let Politano play more than 65 minutes. We know that he's not capable. And he goes and gets injured on the 77th. Whilst you have on the bench people that are fresh in a day that's hot as balls. You have to do better than that, man. Like I'm not trying to put blame on Calzona for this season, but there are some things that I don't understand how some coaches don't see it. The first thing I would have done in a day like today, you're playing 3 p.m. under the sun, it's hot as balls. You make changes in the 60th minute. You take off Politano, you change your midfielders, you do something there. And then I don't understand why we keep playing Rahmani. And this was the perfect chance to play Nathan because Juan Jesus is out, right? So you go and you put a left-footed center back in. It should be Nathan. Why are we not seeing Nathan? It could have been a great chance. Now he put in Ostigard. Fine, that's fine. I like Ostigard, but why is Rahmani playing? We could have had a Ostigard Nathan situation, which we're hopefully gonna get next week because Rahmani, praise the Lord, got a yellow card and he'll miss the next game. Guys, I will be wearing my best suit for the next match. Like it's one of the happiest days of my life when I turn on the TV and I don't see Rahmani on the field. Oh, it will be like the best thing that's ever happened to me. The best thing. The best thing. Why isn't Nathan playing? I don't know. I don't know. I thought he had a decent start to the year. People were criticizing him for a few mistakes here and there, but I think that these mistakes are normal for someone that's coming from a different league that's super young. But I saw the potential in him. He had some games where he was the best player on there, and he had that desire. Remember that slide tackle that he did in that Champions League game where he wins the ball in midfield, like rallies the entire team, gets us going. Like that's what we need, instead of these cadavers that we have on the field right now. Juan Jesus is somehow gonna recover in time. Yeah, that's like my worst nightmare. It's honestly my worst nightmare. Let's get to some other comments, guys, because I kind of want to make this a quick live. I want to be done in 45 minutes. Conceding 2.5 xG versus Frosinone is one of the wildest things this squad has ever done. I'm so disgusted. Why do they even employ players like Rui Rachmani and Di Lorenzo at this point? Well, two of those have the same agent, who's also the same agent as Gaetano, as Politano. So it's the whole Mario Rui thing. It's he's there because of his agent. His agent is like telling De Laurentiis, look, I'll keep Di Lorenzo at Napoli, but you gotta play this kid as well. And it's like I'll do you this favor if you do me that favor, kind of thing. We need to get rid of at least 10 players. Yeah. By the way, conceding 2.5 XG versus Frosinone is not the wildest thing that I've ever seen because a few months ago we lost 4-0 against Frosinone with Mazzarri. That was the wildest thing I've ever seen. That was bad. That I mean, this is bad because it's in the league. That was also pretty bad. That was also pretty bad. Mario Rui shouldn't be in Napoli. Meret freaking saved penalty and WTF he did. I'm always scared when they do this stupid tiki taka in the area. Yeah, I mean they don't have the skill. It's a skill issue. They don't have the skill to do this. Could probably name at least 12 players who don't deserve to be at Napoli. Never been a Meta fan. Always felt we could do better. We need to start first with a manager who knows how to put in the subs properly. What the f? 3 for 3 clueless on subs. Yeah, I mean, putting on Cayuste, by the way, is a wild sub. I mean, this guy is like he will never ever solve you a game when you need to. Like like we are relying on guys that have never produced for us this season. I like Politano's energy for 20 minutes. Di Lorenzo, he's aged 20 years in 1 year. Yeah, I mean, he looks so unmotivated, just so unmotivated, Di Lorenzo. It's crazy. And he should be ashamed of himself as a captain of Napoli to be playing like this, honestly. And I think at some point he's got to realize, like, if he really, I feel like if players really want the best for a team, then they need to realize that they're not playing well and that they should sit some games out and just say to the coach, "Hey, listen, coach, I'm not in my best form right now. Maybe let's try the Mazzocchi next game." I wonder if that stuff ever happens. If it doesn't, I wish it happened more because I mean, you absolutely need to change something around. Roland Duas says Kvara have 8.7 score on Flash Score. Yeah, but it's just algorithms, right? I mean, he has the assist for Osimhen, but it's not a real it's not a real assist, right? I mean, it's a real assist, but it's he tried to shoot and it ended up being an assist for Osimhen. Same like Osimhen. He has a goal, but he happens to be there out of pure luck. It's not like and then the other reason why his score is so high on these websites is because if you take shots and they happen to be on target, then you get positive points. But they don't go and judge, is that a useful shot? Is that like what were you doing other than that? There was, I think, not enough there from Kvara. I think in these sort of games against teams like Frosinone, if you don't come up with winning solutions, then I'm not sure you can be considered a top 20 player in the world right now. Because let me tell you, if we had Vinicius, right? Then probably he would have found a way to score, right? I mean, it's all hypothetical, and Kvara has helped us 1 million times before, so I don't wanna blame him for this. It's not the problem. Kvara is not the problem. What I'm saying is that clearly he didn't play to his potential. No, if he played to his potential, if he played to the potential of a top 20 player in the world, then against Frosinone he would have done better. Same like Osimhen. Osimhen played really bad. Osimhen had 8 chances and he scored the one where he didn't even realize, I think, that the ball was coming to him until the last second. So yeah, I I don't know. I don't know how we can say that any of these guys played even average compared to their potential. The cherry on top in this was getting beat by a Napoli loan. I mean, we drew, but yeah, I mean, look, the Napoli players on loan are playing well. They're playing well. Gaetano, this guy Khedira, Caprile, the goalie for Empoli, Folorunsho at Verona. They're playing well. They deserve to come back to Napoli, and let's try them out. Let's bring these guys in. We need them. At this point, not even therapy can help us, says Flo. It's a disaster. Napoli is a club for likes of Rachmani, blah, 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 blah. Must sell Ossi, Kvara, and Lobo. Look, I don't know what you mean by that comment. If you think that if you think that Osimhen and Kvara and Lobo are too good for this club, I don't know what to tell you, man. Because Lobo came from friggin' Celta Vigo, okay? If he was so good, then why didn't Barcelona or Real Madrid or Atletico take him when he was playing in their league? Huh? He would have been. He wasn't even good enough for Napoli in his first two seasons, man. This guy was overweight his first two seasons. So I don't know what you mean by that, honestly. Ossi and Kvara, they had zero platform before coming to Napoli. So, you know, if they want to keep playing for Lille in France, fine. Fine. Be my guest. Keep playing for those teams. I mean, I don't remember one single player that came to Napoli and then left and actually his career went better. There's some that went to bigger clubs and won. Higuain went to Juventus, won a Serie A. Lavezzi and Cavani went to France and they won League One and all these things. But has anybody really done better since leaving Napoli? Or did they just become one of the many once they left Napoli? Because I don't remember anyone leaving Napoli and then winning a Ballon d'Or, eh? So maybe that's what happens with Osimhen and Kvara, but let's see. Let's see what happens with their careers once they leave Napoli. Hmm. I had so much hope for Zambo. Yeah. Zambo is clumsy and not with much IQ. Yep. Yep. I mean, guys, there's a lot of comments here about Rahmani and these guys. Yeah, no Lobo disrespect, please. No, I mean, I'm not disrespecting. I'm not disrespecting Lobo. I'm replying to a comment that says that he's too good for Napoli. I don't think these players are too good for Napoli because if they were, they would be making winners for us. They would not be in 10th place. You do not end up in 10th place when you apparently have three players that are too good for the team. Those three players should then be good enough to pick this team up and do something with it. You need to read other comments as well. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying. I'm trying. There's a lot of you guys on here. Bit off topic, but how can I watch Napoli movie? I don't live in Napoli. You can't. Simple. The message for this year was from Napoli to the world, but apparently that's false, right? Because you can only watch this in movie theaters because De Laurentiis wants to earn as much money as possible through these ticket sales. And with streaming, he doesn't have that same level of, let's say, guaranteed revenue generation, no? Also because De Laurentiis, I think, owns a few movie theaters and all that sort of stuff. Not just like he produces a movie, but I think he owns some movie theaters as well. So that's why he's so interested in making it go in the movies. Di Lorenzo had the chance of the game. Yeah, Di Lorenzo. Di Lorenzo, the thing is, he can't shoot to save his life, for sure. Meret can save all he wants, but making such a mistake is not allowed for a Champions League team. Yeah, but we're not, right? We're not. We're not a Champions League team. We're not. We are a bunch of amateurs, honestly. Anyways, the only player that played somewhat well was Politano today, guys. Um, he's a guy that in the last two games has shown. You know what? I'm gonna I'm gonna pick this team up when they need it. But the other players, nothing, man, nothing. Like just very average. Like you could replace, honestly, you could replace Osimhen with Kedira in today's game, and you wouldn't feel a difference. You wouldn't feel a difference. You could replace Kvara with Sule, and you wouldn't feel a difference. Like you could have swapped the Frosinone and Napoli players, and it wouldn't have made any difference, right? Like that was our level. Our level today was Frosinone's level. So, thoughts on Di Lorenzo leaving and who would be captain instead? Yeah, Di Lorenzo as well has to go. Like he was great until last season, but this year, my God, man, he fell off. Fell off. Who would be captain instead? I would probably give it to, I don't know. I'd probably give it to Lobotka, if he stays, but I don't know, man. I don't know. Let's see what kind of team we have next season. It's hard to say for now. It's very very hard to say for now. Let's go into the analysis of the game, guys. First of all, the ultras today they weren't doing any chants or anything like that because it was a sign of protest. So the stadium was full, but very very quiet. Then we get to this point here with Osimhen. You know, he got. Oh, this is that yeah. Oops. With Osimhen getting his hand injured because there was this moment here, right, where Politano pings a ball into him. Osimhen is actually making a good run here, but the goalie comes out first and it hits his hand. And I don't know if that somehow compromised him with the rest of the game or not, but it seems kind of painful what happened to him there. Then we have this chance where Kvara, a bit more as a middle attacking midfielder, passes the ball to Osimhen. Osimhen, you know, instead of going towards his left foot, brings it back to his right, but shoots straight at the goalkeeper. I think the ball is kind of like stuck underneath his feet a little bit too much. But what we saw here from Kvara was kind of the only time in the game where he was able to really find Osimhen with real skill, right? And I wished that he would have come into this area a bit more during the game, right? And attempted that slightly more. Then we get to the goal, right? With Di Lorenzo making this run, it opens up the area behind him, and Politano does well to take advantage of that. And it's a very, very, very nice goal from Politano. Then we get to this chance here with Osimhen, right? I mean, the image here is slightly cut off, but you can see that Kvara and Politano are keeping the Frosinone defense very, very open. Um, and, you know, Meret, he's getting pressed, but sends the ball long this time to Osimhen, who does well to wriggle around his defender. Defender just shows how bad he is by not getting to that ball, getting sucked in by Osimhen, and then realizing that he's gone too far, so the ball goes in behind him. But then you can see how Osimhen struggles to keep this ball under control. It takes him a few touches, and it allows the Frosinone defenders to get back close enough to him that he misses. Gashilia says it wasn't even Kvara's fault that this team tied. He probably did his best. I'm not saying it's his fault, guys. I am not saying it's his fault. I'm saying, and I'm not saying he's not doing his best. I mean, I'm just saying that if this is if there's 50 games in a season, this would be in his bottom 10, right? Like there's nothing in this game that you would put in the highlights, right? So that's all I'm saying. When I'm putting him a 5 out of 10, Remember, a six for me is average. So a six means out of 50 games this season, this one would be around number 25, right? Between 20 and 30. But when you go below that, then it is one of your worst games, and so you get a worse score. But I mean, I'm not saying it's his fault. I mean, guys, are guys like Politano, Osimhen, Kvara. These are guys that have been saving Napoli consistently over the course of this season. I'm not blaming them for where we are now. I'm saying that they could have played better. That's for sure. But I mean, it's not like we lost to Frosinone because of them. We lost because of the entire team, without singling necessarily anybody out. I mean, it was just all around everybody not in their best moment. So yeah, don't confuse guys. Don't confuse these player ratings for like how I judge a player in general. Like, think of, I don't know, think of like you, right? I don't know. You went to school, you take 10 exams, and one of them goes badly. That doesn't mean you're a bad student, right? I mean, it just means that you did one of these exams badly. That's what I'm saying with Kvara today. It's like, objectively today, I don't think he has anything to be that proud of. That doesn't mean he's bad. That doesn't mean he's a bad player. Like, that's not what I mean. Anyways, Osimhen, let's analyze this moment here, right? Like, so Osimhen here has the ball, right? And he's by himself, goes all the way down to this part of the field, and then tries a shot from there. Now, I think that this was very forced by Osimhen, right? Like, you've got the defender right there. You haven't really done enough to earn yourself a yard of space. You're not in front of the defender. So taking on a shot there, there's a 90% chance that it's going to be reflected. And that's what happens. I would have liked to see Osimhen in these situations just use his head a little bit more and like calm the game down a little bit, wait for his teammates to come forward, wait for Kvara maybe to get in the box, wait for Politano to be in support, and then try to find the pass. I think last year with Spalletti, the thing that I was saying with Osimhen was how much he was improving in these sort of conditions, where in his first years, when he first came to Italy, Osimhen would do exactly this. He would go just by himself. Osimhen would be, those horses that have the things that cover their eyes. That was Osimhen when he first came to Italy, right? Then with Spalletti, he realized that, oh, I've got an entire team that I can utilize, and he was more strategic with what he did when he was alone with the defenders. And last year he used to wait for the team a little bit more so that then he could pass it to them. Then he would get back inside the middle of the box and maybe finish off the chance. Today, again, he was like this, like when he first came to Napoli. So that's also when some people as well say, "Oh, Osimhen is too good for Napoli." Do you remember the Osimhen in his first season at Napoli? Do you remember what he was like? Or do you want me to recap what he was like? Because Osimhen was half the player that he was last season when he first came to Napoli. He didn't come to Napoli already as the best striker in the world, Osimhen. Osimhen was just fast when he came to Napoli. That's it. And through the coaches that he had here, through his teammates, he developed. But this season, we're seeing that some of the things that he did well last season, he's now going back to the level that he was at when he first came, which is a striker that does 10, 15 goals a season, not more. And that's been Osimhen's level this year, 10, 15 goals. But not the player of last season when he scored more than 25. Right. But the worst part about our team has to be our defense. This is the first goal. Look at this defensive line, completely out of shape. Completely out of shape. It leaves. Look at Di Lorenzo playing all these guys on side by maybe 1 or 2 meters. The ball is played in, it gets flicked on, and Ostigard here is behind his man. He's also to blame for the situation, but Rahmani intervenes in the wrong way. We get a penalty against us, and luckily Meret is very good at saving penalties, and he, manages to save the situation there a little bit. Rahmani, by the way, like speaking of him, he's got no personality. We keep talking about it. Like he's in this situation here where I think he needs to take 1 or 2 steps forward and then attract players towards him, like the Frosinone player running towards him, attract him, and then pass the ball towards Di Lorenzo that's free over there, Do something like that so that it opens up some angles for yourself. Take a bit of a risk, but no, he just plays the ball sideways. Whereas you've got guys like Ostigard who, in a very similar condition type of area, he does play that ball forward to Di Lorenzo and he does take the risk. And you need to be good with the ball to do this. I mean, you need to play the ball with the right speed, with the right accuracy, the right force, and he's able to do that. And I think he brings a lot to this Napoli team in terms of playing the ball out from the back. Something that Rahmani doesn't do. Rahmani doesn't have this kind of personality. Zakaria says Napoli started crumbling from the top. The players have the pressure of repeating last season with no real foundation. The defense was just the weakest link of the team that fell apart first. Yeah, there was. I don't even know if there was pressure, man. Like, I think, I think if we finished fourth this season, but let's say a comfortable fourth, no one would have been upset with Napoli, right? Like everybody would have been okay with it. Um, the no one was putting pressure on Napoli to repeat themselves. Like that was not the especially with Garcia being the new coach, right? We knew that hey, we've got a new coach. It's probable that we just need to get top 4 and then we go again maybe the year after for a title fight. That's the thing, like there was not even any sort of pressure. They I think just kind of gave up. They just said, I won a scudetto. That's it. I did my job. Now I go on holiday. Like that's what happened. They felt like hey, I did my job. I'm done. These guys. You have to realize that these guys, when they signed for Napoli, they signed up to try to win a scudetto. Once you've done that, you've done your job. So for them, they're on holiday right now. It's like when you finish an exam. I'm done with my studies. I'm done. You know, if someone says go read a book, you're like, no, man, I'm chilling now. Like I've done. It's not like the same when you play for a team like Real Madrid or these other teams where when you sign for Real Madrid, it's not about winning the title once. It's about making history over and over again. And you know that when you sign there. So when you win a title, then you say, "Oh, okay, nice. I did part of my job. I still have what, 3 years left of my contract? Okay, I need to win 3 more titles." So you don't give up because you know that you just did one small part. You've got 3 more parts to go. With Napoli, no. You might have still a 5-year contract with Napoli, but I won last season. I did my job. That's the issue. It's a mentality issue. So yeah, Napoli is 15th in home matches. It's embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing, especially with the amount of support that this team gets. There was a moment here where there was this Politano to Osimhen to Zielinski. And Zielinski, remember how we said Remember how we said last week, or I said last week, and many of you guys disagreed? I said he's the most technical player in the team. That is a strength, but also a weakness because he is so technical that he tries too hard at times to show his technique. And I think that's the problem that a lot of technical players have is that they are so in love with themselves. They're so in love with their own skill and ability that they just feel like they got to use it all the time. Here, Zielinski, when he receives this ball, you know what he should do? At this moment in time, he's in an ideal position where you've got a defender behind you. The ball's in front of you. What do you have to do? If you got to shoot, he's right footed. You put the ball to the right hand side, and with your left hand, with your left arm, you do this. Yeah? So if the defender tries to cross over from you, he can't because your arm's out. You're allowed to do that. Watch Harry Kane. He does this all the time. You do that, you protect the ball, and then you cross the shot. That's what you got to do. And by the way, the defender is not going to come towards your right because he's going to try to, the defender is going to try to get in between you and the goal. So you know the defender is going to come to your left. You know it. So you put your left hand out and you protect the ball. Instead, Zielinski, what does he do? He controls it. He sees that the defender is coming towards the left. So he tries to cross over on him and then take this shot. I mean, in the end, the crossover worked, but it complicates the situation for him because now he's got to shoot with his left foot, and I think the momentum is not with him anymore because he's got to do that little movement with his feet, and so the ball is kind of stuck underneath his foot. It's not in front of him anymore. It's just different, and I don't want to tell these guys how to play football. Like these guys, you know, have a technique that's levels and levels above mine. But for me, this is a technical mistake by Zielinski. This is a mistake. It's not so much like the mistake is not the shot. The mistake is not protecting the ball to start with your left hand. And it's the same mistake that Lindstrom did 2 matches ago. And we talked about it and we said the same thing. I don't know, guys. But, when we say, sometimes people are like, what's the role of a coach, right? What's the role of a coach in a football team? Look, Spalletti is not going to tell Zielinski how to shoot the ball. Or I cannot tell Zielinski how to shoot the ball, how to take a free kick, how to do this, right? That's the natural ability of these players. But sometimes these players don't think about how to be smart on the field. And that's where the coach comes in. And that's where the coach tells, when he sees this from Zielinski in the training sessions, he tells Zielinski, look, what you did there is wrong. What you needed to do was you needed to put your hand out like this, protect the ball. You're not teaching the guy how to shoot the ball, but you're telling him how to be in a better position to shoot the ball. Um, and it's clear that these group of players, I think, are not being coached well. Like they are making mistakes, technical mistakes that last year they didn't do because I think last year Spalletti would tell these guys these things during the week. And so that when it came to Sunday, they were not making those kind of mistakes. Would you rather have Palladino or Italiano? I think I would rather have Palladino, to be honest. And I spoke about it why last week. Even Maradona wasn't able to win every game alone. Look how the team worked to help their wingers when they have a decent left wing, right wing. Then look at this team again. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that Maradona won every game, right? I mean, there were games that Maradona, he got a 5 out of 10 in his player ratings. I mean, I'm not saying I'm not saying Kvara needs to be making a winner every single time. I'm saying if he does it, great. He gets an 8 or 9 out of 10, like I do all the time when he scores and plays well. But when he doesn't, then he gets a 5. I can't give Kvara an 8 or a 9 out of 10 when he doesn't have one single highlight in the game. Otherwise, what do I do when he scores twice? Give him a 20 out of 10. Uh, At the end of the season, tired, getting no help for the teammates, seeing no motivation, and still a decent stat. That's good enough in my book. I nearly reached his full potential. It's time for me to leave. Yeah, it's time for him to leave for sure. Osimhen here missed this chance, gets saved by the keeper, then saved off the line. But a few moments later, Frosinone score their equalizer with this mistake from Meret, where he gets pressed by Frosinone and then loses the ball here, and Kedira scores. And I don't know why we play like this. And the thing to note here is the lack of options that Meret has. Like, but I think this is as much Rahmani's fault than it is Meret's. Why? Because Rahmani was the one that started the action, right? So you're putting the ball in play. That means from that moment onwards, when you play the ball to Meret, you're putting Meret under pressure. Okay. Now, you should only be playing the ball to Meret when you already see that potentially Meret has an option available for him. But if you see that the midfielders are not there to support, to receive the ball, if you see that Lobotka is completely covered, then don't start the game. Don't start. Wait 2 seconds for Lobotka to find his position. Then you start the game. Then Meret has an opportunity to pass the ball. Guys, football is not a game just about skill. Football is chess. It's tactics. You have to think. It's 90% played with your brain, football, not with your feet. The feet are just tools. But if your brain is not connected, if you are not thinking about why you're passing the ball, to who you're passing the ball, then you are not going to win the game. You are going to make mistakes. Too many times people play football without connecting their brain, without thinking 2 steps ahead. You're gonna lose. You are going to lose if you play like that. And unfortunately, that's how the majority of our players have been playing this season. So they score this goal, and this guy goes and celebrates in front of the camera. No, like, come on, man, you are a Napoli player. You're on loan to Frosinone. This was too much for me, honestly. Ah, the banter, though, the banter. And then yeah, Kvara had some chances here to shoot, and I mean it's great for his stats, few shots on goal, but not really dangerous, right? Like not really opportunities that you expect a goal out of there, but at least he was putting pressure on Frosinone. And actually, I think it's from this moment that the goalie has to make a save. The ball goes out for a corner, and from this corner, Napoli do actually end up getting an equalizer. Again, Kvara is involved. The ball, he tries to, shoot here on goal. The ball bounces over all these players. Osimhen happens to be in an onside position and is able to get enough of a touch to beat the goalkeeper, but he didn't really know too much about this. It's 2-1. You think, okay, let's calm down. Frosinone have already scored. Let's just see this game through. Let's think about things, and then instead, Frosinone score another goal with Khedira making this run around Di Lorenzo, around Rachmani. He fakes going in between Rachmani and Di Lorenzo, instead takes the outside, gets himself so much time and space, beats Rachmani, and it's actually a very, very good header to beat Meret. It's 2-2 at this point. And yeah, then a series of things that I just want to point out of how Napoli play. I mean, this is the Mairurui incident where not his second yellow card, but this is the incident where Politano is injured on the other side of the field, and Mairurui, for whatever reason, plays the ball forward. It's like, man, just wait 30 seconds for Napoli to make the substitution to bring on Raspadori instead of Politano, because if you lose the ball now, we are playing with 10 men against 11, okay? So don't do that. But Marurui not thinking about these things. Then you get the save from Meret. Like, we could have almost lost this game, man. We could have lost 3-2. And then we get this moment here with Di Lorenzo. You can't actually see it. So let me get rid of this. Let me get rid of this filter, okay? Where it kind of like makes the image small. Like it cuts the image. I know it won't look nice anymore. But here you have Calzona pointing to Di Lorenzo to play the ball forward. Di Lorenzo has the option to pass the ball to Raspadori. Instead, he tries to cut inside, loses the ball, and then he is so well, I don't have it here, but he loses the ball and he's just so demotivated trying to get the ball back into play. Like he just walks off the field very slowly, picks up the ball, and it's like, dude, come on, come on, come on. Yeah, so that was that. Then he gets this chance a few minutes later in the 92nd minute, where here, look, you have two options. One, you go for a shot and you go full power down on the ground and you try to make this work, or you got to cross the ball, but it's got to be accurate. And for me, this is kind of a simple pass, huh? Like it's not that difficult to find Simeone, but he doesn't do it, and the ball goes wide. And then Mario gets a red card later on in the game for this pull of the shirt, where there was a Napoli player down on the ground. We lose the ball. Frosinone is about to counterattack us, and maybe he needed to do this to stop the counterattack. But I mean, it's embarrassing that we had to rely on a red card at the end of the game to save us from Frosinone scoring a third goal. When it comes to the predictor, guys, let's see. There is there is a lot of points here scored by some of you. Let's see. Let me refresh this. Let me refresh. Yeah, I think that's refreshed. Oh no, there it is. King Manats with 7 points. I think he guessed that Politano and Osimhen would score. I think he also guessed the Kvara and Di Lorenzo assist. Um, to be fair, he did predict 5 goals, so he just kind of listed everybody. But yeah, that was how you guys did this week. For those of you that played, thank you for those that played. But yeah, that was the game, guys. That was the game. Bit off topic, but what's Adiele's son's role in Napoli? Not much, man. Not much. He's kind of like the he's supposed to be the De Laurentiis's eyes, you know? He doesn't really have a function, like a operational function. He's just there. He just observes things happening, and I guess he reports back to De Laurentiis, but when in 2019 there was that big bust up in the locker room, it was, I think, maybe Mertens or Alan. I can't remember which one. Like I think punched Edo De Laurentiis or something like that, because he was telling them some things and they're like, man, we're not gonna receive instructions from you, you know? So yeah, he's just there in the changing room, in the area where the players are, just keeping tabs on what they're doing and then reporting back. Um, so yeah, the next match we will see Nathan Mazzocchi. Let's hope so, man. Let's hope so. Per il Napoli il campionato è finito a gennaio, sarà per il prossimo anno. Yeah, I mean, it's true. The season finished in January, but next season we need to change a lot of players. A lot of players we need to change. Otherwise, it's going to be the same. We will have the same problem. Roberto, purtroppo è finito anche prima. Gennaio ormai era già tutto compromesso. L'anno prossimo dobbiamo assolutamente cambiare tutti i giocatori, la maggior parte dei giocatori, se no stesso problema l'anno prossimo. His name's vice president. He has to have some sort of responsibility. No, it's honorary. Like, what do vice presidents even do? I mean, I guess in the case that De Laurentiis like is incapacitated, then it would be Edo that would have to make the decisions, right? Um, I guess that's the role of a vice president. You don't actually do anything. You're just kind of there in case something happens to the main guy. Anyways, guys, that's everything. I don't even want to listen to Calzona's press conference. I'm not in the mood for that. So, yeah, that's it. That's it, guys. I don't want to hear what he has to say. Let's just get this season over with, 6 more games, and let's hope that we get some positive news when it comes to the coach. Let's hope we get a good coach. Let's hope we get someone that we can trust, that we can build something with. And I just want June to be a very busy year for Napoli. Like when the 1st of June starts and you can start buying and selling players, I want so many announcements from Napoli. Like I want to wake up June 1st and see Anguissa is sold. This guy is sold. That guy is sold. This guy is sold. Like I want them to clear the house, right? That would be a nice 1st of June for me. Very nice 1st of June. I don't think that's gonna happen. I think that's unrealistic, but it's what we need. But yeah, it's unrealistic. Anyways, guys, that is everything. I am gonna end it here also because I have to leave. I have to go play paddle for the first time. So let's see. And I don't know. Maybe I get a chance to make a video sometime soon. Maybe not. If I don't get a chance to make something during the week, then I'll see you for the next game where hopefully we do get 3 points. And I'm excited, man. I'm excited for the next game. We might see Ostigard, Nathan, and Mazzocchi play. That's going to be interesting. So maybe we get a clean sheet. We haven't had that since January. Anyways, see you guys. And as always, Forza Napoli, sempre. Ciao.